the idea was to get utterly sourced and then record this and speak my blood-clot mind. But instead, I'm forcing some food down my gullet so I can drink. And then talk about the issues at hand. It has been a hectic 2 weeks. Let me take my first sip of some London Dry gin.
Got a few questions. Who is it that led us to it? Who is it that made us think it? Who was counting bucks from the goal? Who is it that found bloody gloves on the ground on the leaves over there with no other footprints? Acting like he had what it took, was so sure it was intelligence that got him over. Who had the guts for the cure? Planting all the mirrors and pictures of evidence leaked to the news. Acting as an instigator, snitching on the elevator. Faking like a liberator, hater, traitor, beta, skater, perpetrator. Thought he could shut it down. Just cause he says he found a bloody sock on the rug. So snug, there was no other blood there. What was it that led us to believe it? Although he lied, he testified. Herr Furman, how much you done made? Hey Marky. Shining like a blooming light bulb. All that info blew up into a monster. Nobody thought of the kids, it was daddy killing mommy. The white Bronco driving slowly all over the globe. Who was it that made us aware? Who was it that brought the disease? Who was it that claimed to be a revelator? Money and coke and arrogance. When the jig is up, it's a dirge we dance. Who was it that made us chew it? Who was it that showed he blew it? Showed everybody we're still scared, but he never used the N-word. Who was it that brought us around? He's certified and living in Idaho. He took a bite of the crime and wrote a book, and he's writing another one. Ain't got no SS badge this time. Looking like he's barking at the Kennedys. Looking like he's barking at the Kennedys, huh? Looking like he's barking at the Kennedys. We all know who the real victim is. It's you and me, over and over. All the news ever so slantly, slightly smoothly. The mind is the final frontier. Someday, we will all be the police. Good cop, bad cop, but then there's Marky. And more lethal than the two. Yeah, Marky, seek higher. Someday you will all be Negroes, broken down on the side of the road. The pickup drives by slowly, pulls over as if to help. A man gets out and walks towards you. It's Mark. It's Mark. It's Marky!
Yo, do they even make gin in London anymore? I mean, do they? Somebody tell me if they do, because all the London dry gin that we have access to is bottled and made in South. Let me check this bottle. Produced and bottled in South Africa. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I should throw in some mushrooms in the shit, store it for a couple of days, see what will happen. I have wanted to experiment with psychedelic mushrooms and gin in particular. The Ableton Live is still booting up, so the music has to come from elsewhere for now. Been listening to a lot of Elvin Jones lately. I hit 2 albums this week, Genesis and The Main Force, and man, I can't say which one is I like more than the other, because it's Elvin Jones, man. He's just damn legendary and great. Excuse the ambient noises. It is a Friday. It's a Friday as I record this, and the world around and outside of me is on some real serious activity. What's on my mind? What's on my mind on this thing that we call Three Rocks, hosted by myself, Kayama Sego. We do this thing now and then. It's been a bit more regular lately because I have been a bit more regular lately. I've had a bit more stable social environment, so I have been able to sit down, record, and even collect information that I want to talk about. Let me force a bit more food down my gullet. Oh, hell yeah. Now, I didn't come here to preach today, but when I see things like what's been happening in the media for these past couple of weeks, I can't help but get a flame lit in me. I just want to get up and scream and hoop and holler in rage, because man oh man, being black sucks in this universe right now. I don't know, maybe black people on other planets have it better. Maybe there's a dimension out there parallel to this one, where black people are the dominant social, dominant political force. Because with dominant force and everything else, we were just talking on Twitter recently about how consumption, and actually mentioned it in our past episode, I think it's episode 8 or 9, where we're talking about how the contradiction of the fact that people consume black art and black creativity but hate black people. They don't see the contradiction there. They just carry on as normal. I mean, black people rake up the Grammys, fine arts awards. They rake up all of these great works. When it comes to every single art form, there isn't a place where black excellence does not show itself, where just the superiority of black people doesn't show itself. There's Simone Biles in gymnastics. There was Carl Lewis, right? Caught for doping, didn't he though, Carl Lewis? But who wasn't doping? I mean, look at the Russians. And the Americans. I mean, they've been doping since been doping. Look at OJ and his Heisman trophies. Look at the NFL, full of black kids who are excellent at what they do. Ocho Cinco and his beautiful wide receiving style. I just can't go on and on and on and on and on and on about black excellence. But it is so alright to hate black people. It's so alright to kill black people. It's alright to punish black people for being nothing but black and around. These things are acceptable in the world we live in. It's normal. It's normal. And well, we are in the week, the same week where they killed Jordan Neely, Michael Jackson impersonator from New York. Guy had issues, man. We know that there's crazy people on the trains. I take trains in KwaZulu, where I'm from. The streets where I come from, sucker. I take trains, you know what I'm saying? I know that there's crazy homeless people on the train. There's people who are not getting psychiatric care, who get around using the train because there's really no other way to cover long distances of the cities that we live in. Other than the train, these taxis won't take you smelly and homeless or whatever. And this guy, Jordan Neely, he didn't look like the smelly homeless type. He looked like he tried to keep himself clean looking because he was a Michael Jackson impersonator. He wanted to make money by dancing for you and looking good, you know. God, he looked good. He was so handsome. 30-year-old. He's like 9 years younger than me. And dead. And there's so many black men who will never make it to my age. Way too many. And I was looking at the mortality rates of black people in America. And man, many die way before the age that is expected for an average mean. You know, the gradients and the stats, when you look at it, it just looks like black people die way too soon. And the Jordan Neely incident is really frustrating because the media protected the white guy who killed him. Even though he was arrested by the cops let him go before they even got the report that it was a murder. And if I, as a black person, had choked out a white boy on a train and people recorded me, do you think I would have even made it to the police station? You know, do you think I would have even been released before the coroner's report came in? Do you really think so? Or because I tell them, no, I'm a Marine, I'm a soldier, let me go. I was protecting the people on the train. But two other people were holding this guy down. I would like to see them get called to account too. The one who was pinning down his arms and holding down his shoulders. This guy was choking, but you know, he's the one that killed him, but he had help. And people aren't talking about the fact that he had help. And this thing about black lives meaning nothing is really, really, really getting to me, which is why I wanted to get sauced. I wanted to get fucked up and talk about it, but I'm not fucked up just yet. I have only taken one sip of this London dry gin. It burns so good yet. My God. It burns good. So black lives are worthless. And Carl Hancock Roos said it best, and I closed with his poem in the last episode, where he says, they want your black ass, not your black art. that entire poem, There Will Be No Black Show, hell no, not today, is all about that, about how the contradiction of black excellence and this pandering of blackness to whiteness, and how white people can get away with things and black people can't. It's just mad. It's just maddening too. It's maddening. In South Africa in 2016 or 2017, not too sure, there's a blur in those 2 years, there was a case in South Africa where two white boys took a black man who worked on their farm and they threatened him with a snake, and they made him go into a coffin and they threatened him with snake. I think they threw it inside too even. Because lots of black people are afraid of snakes. Snake phobia is a very prevalent thing in black culture. Snakes do not represent wisdom and goodness and niceness. They represent witchcraft and poison and death to most black cultures around here. So snakes are killed and feared, and so this guy was scared shitless, and they did this on camera. Guess what? They got 1,000 rand bail and were allowed to walk around in the streets, in the same streets with the person that they just tortured. And I released a small little video during that same year, actually the same month, when they did the bail hearing, and they let them go. But I'm glad that the lawyer chased it, because apparently they got about 3 years. The case was reopened up, just like the Oscar Pistorius thing. Remember that Oscar Pistorius had actually gotten away with the Riva thing, and Barry Rue chased it. He forced the case. He said, no, this guy cannot get away with murder. Let's reopen this case. We need to attack it at a different angle, and they did, and they succeeded. So these two white boys, these Afrikaans boys, they were given 3 years, I think, which is still small, but it's something. It's punishment. It's not 1,000 rand bail, right? It's punishment at least, which is fine. Now, this guy, what's his name? We got his name, the guy who killed Jordan Neely. It's Daniel something, Daniel Peeney or something, from New York. I just recently saw his name. I didn't take it down. I was really pissed off, and I even changed my name on Twitter to Who Killed Jordan Neely, because for about 48 hours we did not know. It's been about 72 hours since he died, I think, and he was murdered in front of a train full of people. I don't know what happens in New York. Could you New Yorkers listening to this show, or Americans in general who've been to New York and taken the F train or the A train or whatever train, tell me, what happens in New York? How do you record someone being killed by a white man and not stomp the white man's head in? Okay? Or maybe just force him to let the guy go because he is killing a person in front of you. I don't know. Do you guys? I don't know what you think, but did he deserve to die? Did a person who is mentally unstable, who is sick, who is homeless, deserve to die at the hands of a crazy Marine who actually enjoyed killing a black person? You should have seen, there was a little smile on this guy's face. The videos are there, it's clear. He enjoyed killing that nigger. He enjoyed it. Nigger, Negro, black person. I was a bit, my tongue was a bit confused there which direction to go. It happens. But yes, that was America. So the same time, in the previous episode, I was talking about Mumia Abu Jamal, and Mumia is one of the biggest American injustices we know of. One of the biggest. He was on death row for killing a cop. the same cops that probably have killed many of his friends and people that we know in the Black Panthers. But he killed a cop, and for that he was put on death row. But he was removed from death row, and even with new evidence in his case, he still has life imprisonment and life without parole. Is Mumia Abu Jamal. And he wrote the book, Have Black Lives Ever Mattered? Of course, a rhetorical question, because we know that they don't. We know full well that they don't. So it's been a hectic time, just a hectic time for blackness in South Africa. I don't know where a black person can feel safe anymore. And while I was walking home from the shops, I was just thinking about existential terror, and we were talking about it with my friend Izolo. And we were just talking about how can a black person not live in a state of consistent existential terror, especially if you're in the United States. We used to talk about this with my girlfriend as well, saying being a female is a state of existential terror. Consistently, especially a black female. I can't talk about the American state, but I can talk about the South African state and the black females I know here. They live in a state of existential terror, and it's so ubiquitous that it's back end now. It's like wallpaper. You don't notice it because it's just all over the wall. You know, it's just there. It's just consistently and constantly there. The sense of fear of being killed, of being harmed, of being bothered by men, by police, by politicians, by other women who enable the abuse of women, that kind of thing. So much going on. And it's a state of existential terror all the time. And I have been suicidal quite a bit, but I keep thinking to myself, why would I die for a world that hates me already? They don't mind if I die. They wouldn't mind if our whole kind committed suicide and died. They wouldn't mind. I'm mostly alive out of stubbornness. I've learned I'm mostly alive out of stubbornness, out of I'll show them. I'll show them. Watch me make great things. And that's the state of blackness more often than not. You know, we're not even doing things for ourselves anymore. Life is a consistent performance, and a performance sometimes as a defense, a performance as a deflection, a performance so that we don't have to think and live the suffering that is consistent and constant in our lives. Being black is a state of horror, and I think Get Out, that movie, was quite good at showing that. Because you can't trust them, man. You can't trust them white people, no matter how nice they may seem at times, because they are still protected by the system in the back end. If it happens that there's a problem, right? Like a car accident or something, or a simple accident that happens, and it's you and your white friend, you're black, they don't treat you the same. They don't treat you the same. I've never felt the same. I used to hang out, I'm into death metal, right? I mean, like brutal death metal. I love my death metal. And so obviously I was hanging out with white friends. I toured the country with my metal band. We made great music, but it was always that way, that when I'm in the club, and we came here to Tempos, and we even played in Joburg. I think Tempos wasn't Joburg, yes. We played different venues, and every time I'd have this consistent, oh my gosh, you're a black guy who likes death metal. Like it's not really amazing good music. Anyway, I was raised in the townships, by the way. I'm from the ghetto. So it's not like I was raised listening to death metal. I grew into it of my own volition. after Nirvana and Metallica and Static X got into me. Static X was too heavy for me though at the time. I remember hearing Get to the Gone and thinking, oh, this is so loud, so violent, Jesus hectic. But it was really enjoyable. Gets the feelings out. And I never felt treated the same. I remember when we take flights, if we're flying back from Joburg to Durban or something, I was not treated the same by the airport security because I was black. And I didn't even have my long dreads at the time. It was short, little stubby dreads. You know, sometimes I even had the short hair depending on which band I was in. But I never felt treated the same at these places. So I've always felt that white people are institutionally protected. There's a safe zone for them, there's a buffer for them, and the safe zone is the entire world. And the fact that when a white person dies, the world grieves. When a black person dies, you know, and you have to be really, really massive. We were saying, it's crazy what's happening to black people lately because they're killing the lowest of the low and the highest of the high of black people. This is the same year where Takeoff died from Migos. Same year where Akon, South African rapper, not Akon, AKA, died. This is the same year where so many of our people, named and unnamed, are dying at the hands of police, at the hands of soldiers, at the hands of white people, and we don't talk about it. But do you remember how big it was, the white genocide thing in South Africa? People were talking about it, went all the way to Australia, UK, London. They thought there's a white genocide that's happening. They were killing white people in South Africa. Like, really? I'm from here and I've never heard of no genocide. And not even 20 white people dying at the same time. Not even 20, you know? That would have been a massacre, would have been bad. But do you remember Marikana, where people got shot in broad daylight by cops on the mandate of the deputy president? And now that the same person who ordered them to shoot people who are on strike is the president. And the country is not happy with them, but they're the ones who voted him in. They're not happy now. But you voted a criminal, a killer, a corrupt traitor. The guy's betrayed everyone, by the way. He's just betrayed everyone. The National Union of Mine Workers knows damn well what a traitor Cyril Ramaphosa is. But, you know, here he is in the presidency. How does that happen? Because when you sell out, when you work for the Oppenheimers, when you sell out, when you're a traitor, you win. You win. But he will never ever be white. No matter how much he marries that white woman, no matter how much he sleeps with her, no matter how many white friends he hangs out with at wineries, he will never be white. And they will laugh about him and talk about him behind their backs. And he knows that he will never ever be white, and whiteness will never be him. He is sitting on that in between that they allow for house niggas, for the people who have betrayed their own. He is in that zone, he is in that slot. So I've been really, really upset about the Jordan Neely incident in particular. So I will get a bit more sourced. Actually, I will start getting because really I have not been drinking. I took 2 sips of this thing for this whole 23 minutes that I have been talking. So I will cut off for now, and I will come back because I would really like to talk about trans people and sports. That was another thing that was very much on my mind, especially considering what I have heard and learned this week. But the basic synopsis of this episode, brief as it were, is that Black lives don't matter. White people are protected by the media. Killers, murderers are defended by the media and unnamed. While a black person, if you even steal something from the shop, they'll have your face on the newspaper. Right? Named. Anyway, that's the state of things. And this was but a brief talk on me and what I think about this whole Jordan Neely incident and whiteness as control of the earth and the media. Oh, Dubois, we need you now. Anyway, this has been a short episode of Three Rocks. We will be back soon.